Hi everyone. Thanks for joining us today. How's everyone doing? I hope you guys have had a good day. Okay, so once again, welcome to this event and thanks for joining my room. So today I will be sharing a little bit about how does Eduwis Franchisor support Eduwis Franchisee. So my name is Ida and I am the franchise development lead of Eduwis. So for this session, it's going to be just a very short session. It's going to take around 30 minutes. So we are just going to briefly covering how does Eduwis Franchisor supports Eduwis franchisees. So if you are interested to learn a little bit more about Eduwis or know a little bit more about how Eduwis Franchisor supports Eduwis franchisees in detail, at the end of this session, I will leave my contact number and you can contact me for further information. Okay? So let's just get everything started. Okay. Wait. Okay. So before I start my session today, I have a small little request. Okay, I hope that you guys can head over to Eduwis Facebook page. You can either take out your phone and scan this QR code. Okay, and with that, it will lead you to Eduwis Facebook page, or you can just go to you can just go to your Facebook app and search Eduwis Education. Okay, so our Facebook page is very active and we actually have a lot of exciting activities planned ahead, especially for next year. Just to give you guys a little bit of sneak peek, next year is actually the 35th anniversary of Eduwis. So Eduwis actually founded in 1987. So we actually going into our 35th years. So we actually have a lot of exciting activities planned up for next year. So if you guys want to get updated or just get to know what activities coming up, okay, you can just head over to our Facebook page and follow or like our page. Okay, so let's just get started. Before I start my session, I'd like to introduce a little bit about myself. Okay, so my name is Ida T and I am the franchise development lead of Eduwis preschool. Okay, which means I actually help all our franchisees when they actually first started, when they just decided they wanted to start a kindergarten. So I'm the one helping them from the very start, including location searching, planning of operations until the school officially starts. Okay, so a little bit of my background, I actually graduated with a bachelor degrees in economics and also with a certificate in education and educational service from the University of Wisconsin-Madison. Hence, it explains why I'm currently in these industries. And I'm also one of the pre-operational trainers in Eduwis for our preschools operators and our preschool teachers. And currently, I have more than 4 years of formal and informal experience in the ECE industries. Okay, and I have involved in more than 20 preschool centers set up from scratch. Okay, so to get started, I'll need to give you guys a little bit of context. So what is franchise? So franchise in general will have two entities. One is the franchisor, which is this one, which is my side. And then the other one is the franchisees, which could be you guys as well, potentially. So as a franchisor, what Eduwis does is that we are actually selling you the rights to run your preschools using Eduwis business model. So in simpler terms, so by buying this franchise, you actually have the rights to use Eduwis program, Eduwis curriculum, materials, including our branding as well. Okay, and then on the franchisee side, basically what does Eduwis franchisee needs to do is to run this preschool in compliance with our franchise standard. Okay, and then of course with that adhere to our guidelines, okay, and our standards of our products and service, which also means that our customers, okay, which means our parents or kids, no matter which Eduwis centers they go, they'll need to expect to get the same type of service and product. Okay, so no matter it is like Eduwis in Penang, Eduwis in JB, KL, even in Sabah Sarawak, all has to be the same. Okay, so in terms of the franchisee and franchisor and franchisee relationship, over here, I'd like to explain a little bit more in terms of our role play as well. So as the franchisor, okay, so Eduwis, as a franchisor, there's actually 4 main things that we'll be taking care of. Okay, so first of all is the approach to market. So Eduwis, we already have almost 70 centers across Malaysia. by now, okay? And we have already built our brand as a reputable and quality early child education center, a preschool basically, okay? So we have already built our branding as a role player in these industries, okay? So that's one of the things that we're providing. Secondly, it's in terms of the system and process. So Eduwis Franchisor, we already have all the system and process in terms of how to start a kindergarten from scratch, okay? As mentioned earlier, including like location searching, planning of operations, planning of setting up the schools and everything, okay? And also in terms of the daily school operations, okay, your day-to-day operations, what does the teacher needs to do, the cleaner, even the kids, okay? So all this system and process, we already have all this SOP. So basically what our franchisee needs to do is to adapt this system in their own preschool's operations. Okay, so it's actually very simple. We already have everything in, set, so you just have to use it. Okay, and then thirdly, it's in terms of training and support. So this is actually the most important part to us, because as Eduwis Franchisor, this training and support is exactly how we are able to make sure that all our centers' quality is on par. Okay, so in terms of trainings, so generally Eduwis, we provide two types of trainings. One is before the center officially starts. So before the centers officially starts, we'll have a series of intensive trainings where we'll go through, okay, to make sure that the centers operator, teachers are actually ready. Okay, and after that, we have ongoing trainings that is compulsory for all teachers to attend. Okay, so we have ongoing trainings and also pre-operational trainings. And in terms of support, so we will provide support from the very start, okay, again, when we first met until like you look for location, we plan for the renovations, the floor plan everything. So we'll provide support to you and also consultations. And even after your center starts operating, okay, all centers in Eduwis will actually be assigned a preschool franchise operation consultant. So basically there will be like someone who will be like an advisor, okay, or consultant to you guys, to our franchisees, and then give them advice or support whenever they actually need it. Okay, and our expansion, of course, our expansion is through recruiting more franchisees, okay, whoever that are interested to join Eduwis. So that's how we actually able to expand. So in terms of our franchisee side, they're also forming things that they will need to prepare. Okay, so first of all, of course, to start a kindergarten, it is starting a business at the same time, so you need capital. Okay, but actually right now, there are actually some different loans available, okay, to run preschools as well. If you're interested to know more, feel free to reach out to me later. Okay, and then in terms of labor, so for our franchisees, they need to hire all the teachers, basically all human resources, including teachers or the cleaners, sometimes even principal. Okay, so our franchisees will do the hirings and we'll do the trainings. Okay, so for all the teachers that they hired, we'll be the one training them. So with the trainings providing, it will make it easier for our franchisees to hire teachers and also to manage the teachers in the future. Okay, and thirdly, again, is the most important one, is the commitment to follow system, because Eduwis, we are a franchise. One thing about franchise is that everything has to be standard. Okay, so if you were to take up Eduwis franchise, or for all of Eduwis franchisees, they actually have the commitment to follow our systems in terms of how we teach, what are the materials that we're using, how we actually manage our schools, the SOPs that we're using. Okay. And then last but not least over here is the risk and reward of owning a business. Of course, starting a preschool, again, you're starting a business, so there will be risk and reward in owning a business. Okay. Okay, so first of all, before I go into like the specific support that mostly only Eduwis provide, I will actually go into the basic franchise support that Eduwis Franchisor provide to our franchisees. Okay, so generally it's these four things in terms of teaching approach, curriculum, learning materials, and marketing and branding. Okay, so in terms of teaching approaches, so Eduwis, one of our unique selling point as well is in terms of our unique teaching approaches, which means how we teach in Eduwis. So basically, when you decide to take a franchise, one of the things that you actually need to look into, or you will one of the important deciding factors like that you should look into, it's in terms of teaching approach, because that is what will make you stand out from all the other competitors in the market. Okay, so the basic support that we'll provide, number one is teaching approach. So just a little bit of sharings about Eduwis. Okay, so the teaching approach that Eduwis is using is that in Eduwis we have integrated this 8 famous educationist approach in theories and philosophies in our teaching approach. Okay, so basically these are the 8 famous educationists that we actually adapted from in terms of our program. So for example, one of the very common one in Malaysia is this Montessori approach. Okay, so for Montessori approach, let's say Montessori preschools, basically what they do is that they adapt the Montessori approach in their teaching method or how they carry out and operate their schools. Okay, in terms of Eduwis, we actually not a Montessori preschools. Okay, because in Eduwis we just use like a very tiny part of Montessori's teaching in Eduwis approach. Because according to the research and development team of Eduwis, Montessori's teaching is best in terms of teaching young children self-disciplines and living skills. Okay, so that's the 2 main part where we adapt in Eduwis program. Where else in terms of language studies, we actually use this Vygotsky's approach. And in terms of creativity, learning, arts, we use this regional Malay approach, which is by Loris Malaguti. Okay, so that's basically how we combine these 8 different educationist approaches in our teaching approach. Okay, so that's how we combine 8 different ones. So from this, you can also see that we actually are a very holistic program because we focus on every single aspect of a child's development, not just in terms of academics, but also in terms of like arts, music, social emotion development, because everything is equally important for a child's development. Okay. So secondly, in terms of the teaching approaches that Eduwis use is that Eduwis, we are actually using an activity-based learning, which means in Eduwis, everything that we teach our kids, we teach them through hands-on learning activities. So that is why in Eduwis, we have more than 1,600 different hands-on learning activities. So the reason that we are using activity-based is because young children, they learn through their senses, right? When they learn, they will actually use the eyes to see, they hear, touch, to smell. So during the learning process, the more senses are involved, the faster they will learn. Okay, so that is why you want to use activity-based learning that will involve a lot of senses. And at the same time, of course, learning activities from part of your children, it's also like playing. But there's actually another name for learning activities. It's called structured play. Okay, it's called structured play because it has been designed by Eduwis, how this activity should go and then what's the learning goal. So everything's already been designed by us. So that's why it's called structured play. So because it is a play, of course, the kids will be very focused when they're playing, right? Okay, so that is also how we actually catch children's attention. And that's why children loves learning in Eduwis. Okay. So thirdly, which is also part of this teaching approach, is that Eduwis also uses thematic integrated learning approach, which is also part of the under part of the KSPK, okay, the curriculum practical. The Malaysian National Curriculum System are for preschools, okay, in which all preschools have to use this thematic approach. However, for Eduwis, one thing that we do it a little bit differently is that we actually integrate it in every single subject. Okay, not just in terms of like language subjects, but also in terms of art, music, science, math, everything we have actually combined with this thematic approach. So which means at one time, our kids only focus on one theme, but they're learning from different approaches, different perspective, even different subjects. Okay, so they have a lot of reinforcement, they keep coming back to this theme. But most importantly is that they can make a lot of connection between things that they are learning. Okay. Okay, next on, it's in terms of curriculum. So actually, what's the differences, like teaching approaches and curriculum? So basically, curriculum is what are the things that the kids will be learning, whereas approaches is actually how they learn it. Okay, so in terms of curriculum, for Eduwis, we also provide a very detailed curriculum plan and guide for all schools. Okay, so for example, this is actually for, let's say, this is actually for English subjects, K2 for 6 kids during the first semesters. Okay, so every single week, what are the activities that are needed? Okay, what are the books that are involved? Okay, everything has been already planned out by Eduwis. Okay, so our franchisee is very simple. They just have to follow this. Okay, and every single activities, right, will give a more detailed guide. So let's go back here, like every single activity here, we provide a more detailed guide like this. Basically, this one is actually like a lesson plan. Okay, like what does a teacher need to do in terms of preparations for this class, okay, what are the materials needed, and the step-by-steps procedures of carrying out this activity. So everything has already been well planned out by us. So our franchisees just have to follow this one and carrying out, of course, to prepare the materials. Okay. So in terms of the subjects, okay, the learning subjects that we have in Eduwis, which includes 3 different languages, science and math subjects, okay, early science, early math, arts, which also includes drawing, art and craft. For music learning in Eduwis, we also teach piano, okay, percussion instrument, music movement, and for indoor activities, we have puppet, drama, dance. Outdoor activities, we have sand play, water play, and physical play, okay, which are very, very important in our kids' curriculum as well, okay. And we also have Islamic program. However, this is optional, so not all schools have it, but of course, school with the demand, okay, they will actually have this. And in terms of moral studies, we teach kids through storytelling and role play. CTP studies actually like something like computational thinking program. It's a little bit like coding program for young children, but it's not exactly coding, like something more suitable for kids age 6 and below. And general studies, basically anything that's not included here. Like for example, we teach kids about like festivals or culture studies. They will all fall under general studies. Okay. And of course, we will also provide learning materials for our for our franchisees to provide it to our children. Okay, so some of the examples includes our textbooks, workbook, exercise books, and also our storybooks. And of course, all these books, they are all published by Eduwis because they need to follow our curriculums, the activities that we do, and also the themes that we actually following. Okay. Okay, other than the books, okay, that all individual children will get, we will also provide our franchisees with the learning materials, which includes the learning corners. Okay, so when we actually set up every Eduwis centers, right, we'll make sure that all our centers are equipped with all these learning corners, okay, which includes like the science and math corners, reading corners. This is our puppet show corner, our music corner, and this is the home corner, okay? And all of these corners, all these materials, they are all supplied by Eduwis, okay? Because we want to make sure that all schools have very standard materials, and we can actually design our curriculum based on the materials that we have. Okay, so all Eduwis schools will have all these learning corners. So it's also very fun for our kids to actually explore around our schools to actually explore all these different corners. Okay, the 4th basic support that we're actually providing by Eduwis Franchisor is in terms of marketing and branding. Okay, so marketing and branding, generally we actually separate into like online and offline. So for offline advertising, it actually includes this is like the roadside billboard. Okay, we also had some, this is the one in the LRT. And then it also includes awards and events. So for example, this is the one that we actually got in 2020. We actually won the best early childhood education program under the Reader's Choice Award. Okay. And also last year, we actually it's early this year, we actually joined this VE Expo, which is a virtual education expo. That actually helps a lot of parents to find preschools. Okay, so it actually is part of our online exposure as well. Okay, other than that, we also have some merchandise, which includes our water bottle. We actually collaborated with Bros, okay, one of the very common bottle brand in Malaysia, water bottle brand in Malaysia. And during this pandemic time, we also made this thing. It's called our mask clip holder. Okay, because during this time, all kids are everyone's wearing masks, right? But they actually have to take it down at some point when we're eating. So we actually provide this mask clip holder for our kids and parents as well, for them to keep their mask when they're outside eating or whenever they actually need to take it down. Okay. Okay, so I'm done with the basic part. Next on, I'll go into the extra franchise support by Eduwis. Why do I call it extra? Because it's actually not something that all franchise brand will actually provide supports like this. This is something specifically for Eduwis franchisees. Okay, so these are the 4 main things that I'd like to go into in detail. This one, first of all, is by multi-center consultation. We also provide 12 modules of trainings annually, and then non-academic activity support, and also our franchisee and facilitators career path. Okay, So let's just get started. So first of all, in Eduwis specifically, we actually provide this bi-monthly center consultation. So which means at most every 2 months, we actually provide a very detailed center consultations for all our centers. Okay, so usually for this one, we'll do it in person, in which we actually go over to our centers, make sure everything goes well in terms of how our teacher teach, our school environment, even like the school operations and everything. Okay, so but of course during times like this, there are times where I have to do it through Zoom. Okay, so generally we'll have like these detailed consultations with our franchisees every 2 months. But of course, in between our visits, we actually have ongoing support through phone calls and chat. So basically, whenever or wherever our schools actually need help or they actually needed us, they can always give us a call or chat. Okay, then we will try our best to provide support to our centers, our franchisees. Okay. So secondly, in Eduwis, we also provide these 12 modules teachers training annually. So 12 modules a year, which makes it once a month, okay? So on a monthly basis, actually Eduwis, we actually do provide teachers training. So parents that have been with us for a long time, they will also know, okay, that our teachers, all teachers in Eduwis gone through like regular trainings, okay? And actually, it's also one of the things that give them assurance. So parents also feel a lot more confident in our teachers, knowing that they're actually being trained on a monthly basis, okay? So our teachers training, it's usually held on the first Saturday of each month. Okay, it used to be in-person training, but of course during this pandemic time again, it actually all moved to Zoom training. But even during pandemic time, we make sure that all our teachers are well trained. In fact, during pandemic time, we make sure that our teachers are very prepared, especially for all the transition changes in the class operations and all. We actually provide extra trainings to make sure all teachers are well prepared, especially when they're carrying out virtual teaching, okay, which is something that most preschool teachers are not very familiar with when during the start of this pandemic. Okay, so you can see this is our part of our what's it called, Zoom training. Okay. Okay. Thirdly, in terms of like the special extra support by Eduwis Franchisor to our franchisee, includes this non-academic activity support. Okay, so in Eduwis program, we have a series of non-academic activities where we actually carry out every year. Okay, so all these non-academic activities actually aims to help children's soft skills development. Okay, so for example, some of the activities here includes like storytelling and puppet show. So the purpose of it is actually to train young children public speaking skills, to be able to speak in front of a crowd. Okay, and let's say for sports days, of course, yeah, for their growth and fine motor skills development. Okay, so for all these activities, okay, Eduwis HQ, Eduwis Franchisor will provide all kind of support. Usually the first thing that we'll do is training specifically for each event. So let's say sports days coming up. So Eduwis Franchisor will provide training specifically for sports days to prepare the teachers to make sure they're actually clear with like all the goals, why are we doing this, how are we going to help children, how are we going to prepare the kids, okay? So they will come out with the planning, okay? And after that, our consultants, they actually go through planning to make sure that it's actually well planned, okay? And after that, then our teachers will start preparing the kids for it. And during our center visit consultations, our preschools operation consultants, they actually take a look at the progress and everything to make sure everything goes well. Okay, because of course for parents, if you are parents, you know the importance of non-academic activities in the preschools as well. Because nowadays we want all our children to be a whole child. Okay, in terms of the holistic development. So all these non-academic activities are equally important in terms of like if the kids are knowing how to like work recognizations, doing calculating and all these things. Okay. So over here, I'd like to share some of the pictures of our non-academic activity, which includes our concert, okay, and our puppet show as well, and our outing trip. This is our project work creation, which is a group artwork, okay, and this is our singing presentation. So one thing I'd like to point out during our singing presentation, all kids, they'll be piano accompanied by another child. So when, as mentioned earlier, I briefly mentioned that all kids in our schools learn how to play piano. So when they actually learn how to play piano, at least we actually make sure we give them a platform and chance to perform as well. Okay. So last but not least, which is the Eduwis career path. Okay, so Eduwis Franchisor, we actually designed a career path for our teachers in our centers. So which means we help our franchisees to design career path for their employees. Okay, so let's say a teacher actually joined us when they're just out in these industries, okay, maybe as an intern or assistant teacher. Okay, so over here, intern or assistant teacher. So with the training that we are providing, as mentioned earlier, we provide a lot of trainings, okay, and also the experience that they're gaining from our schools. How can they climb up their career ladder? Okay, maybe from an teacher assistant, intern, teacher assistant, junior teacher, senior teacher. Okay, so with this, it's actually part of our teachers' retainment plan. Okay, so when you are actually, let's say, let's take a step back. When you're actually looking to start a business, okay, one thing as the franchise development lead of Eduwis, one of the very common questions that I actually get asked a lot is, how is actually the workers' employees turnover? Okay, so actually the employee turnover of a business or any company actually depends on how they actually plan the career path, and also how does the company help to plan a career path together. Okay, so with this, our employees, our teachers, they're able to see, okay, what's our future working in this company? How is this current job, this career, able to help me to reach my own career goal? So for example, one of the most common career goal as a kindergarten teacher or preschool teacher is to open their own centers, to be a principal in the future. Okay, if you go and ask 10 early child education student, okay, almost 9 or 10 of them will have this dream or goal, okay, in the future, or maybe it's their it's like their ultimate dream, like, okay, so that is huge. That is why we actually design this Eduwis career path this way. So they start from an intern and become an assistant teacher, junior teacher, senior teacher, and we have a very unique role. It's called the shadow principal. So shadow principal is just like half a step before they are able to become a principal. So in Eduwis specifically, we actually have a shadow principal program. It's called the SPP, the acronym of it, okay, in which Eduwis will help to train our teachers that are interested to actually start their own preschools or wanting to start their own preschool in the future. Okay, so we'll give them training specifically in terms of like a preschool management part of it. Okay, because if they actually reach this part already, I think most of the time they already have experience enough to be a teacher. Okay, they're actually very familiar with the curriculum part of it already. So for this one, it's actually a trainee principal. So while they're actually at like in between senior teacher and principal, we give them training specifically and monitor them in terms of like the managerial side of it, okay, to help them achieve their career goal. And of course, it actually comes with some extra incentive that actually helps them to open their schools, okay, because opening up a school is not just about the skills and knowledge and experience that you need. There's also financial side of it, okay, and that are in terms of that, we actually have a little different plan for them, which actually takes a lot more time to explain. Okay, we actually have another session on that, so I won't go into details here. So basically, as Eduwis Franchisor, we will also design a career path for our teachers in our franchisee centers. Okay, so that's actually the end of my sharing session. If you're interested to learn more about Eduwis preschool franchise, you can proceed to scan this QR code over here. Okay, so by scanning this QR code, it will actually lead you to a WhatsApp, which is my WhatsApp. Okay, so you can reach out to me if you have any questions about something that I actually shared earlier, or if you wanted to learn more about Eduwis preschool franchise, or you just wanted to maybe just say hi. Okay, so feel free to scan this QR code. Okay, you can just take out your camera. Nowadays, most camera I think has like this QR code thing, scanner. But if you can also quickly take a picture and then scan it later on. Okay. Okay, so before we end, I would actually like to have some feedback from you guys. So if you have something to tell me, okay, or something that you think I can improve, okay, or something nice you want to say to me as well, you can actually scan this feedback form. Actually, it will lead you to feedback. It will lead you to a feedback form where you can fill up and give me some advice. Okay. So that's actually all from my side today. Nice meeting you all. My name is Ida again. If you'd like to reach out to me, you can. come to here and then scan this QR code. Okay, I hope to see you in my other sessions. Okay, bye. Have a good day.